Call to order the Township of Aleppo Commissioners Meeting of January 19th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Could we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Nicole.
President Galuka,
Here.
Vice President Williams.
Here.
Commissioner Jones,
Present.
Commissioner Michael,
Here.
Manager Patterson, here, and Solicitor Jordan.
Present. This meeting and all of our meetings are recorded and uploaded to YouTube for anybody's perusal at any time into the future. I would entertain a motion to approve the January 5th reorganization meeting minutes from the workshop. Do I have a second? Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to reports, Chief Hanny for the police.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year, if I haven't seen you.
Happy New Year.
Same to you. Although this month is already getting along already. All right, for the month of December, we had a total of 73 calls. Of that, 42 were EMS calls. I think we did respond to a few of those throughout the area. We had 2 accidents, non-reportable. I think those were also on 79 corridor, not inside the Aleppo community areas. We had a few alarms going off, several DPW call-outs, obviously because of the weather. We had an employee issue at Masonic Village that was just told to stay away. No other issues there. That's what's marked there as the civil dispute. Suspicious circumstances and persons incident. One was a gentleman at the church, St. Mary's Church, just seeing if it was open. Obviously it wasn't, so he was just checking the doors. The other one, somebody's doorbell was just activating by itself and they thought it was on, so they called us on that. Other than that, everything else, nothing else to report to the residents. Any questions or concerns from me?
In the words of a famous Aleppo Township president, is there anything that we can do for you, sir?
Turn your faucets on a little bit tonight so the pipes don't break, right? So the fire guys don't have to come out and everybody come out to everybody's houses. It always happens, but that is a good safety tip. Nothing on my end, though. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. Stay safe.
All right, thank you.
There is no report regarding emergency management. Public Works.
I have Tim's report for the month somewhere in here. Plowing, I've been called out for plowing and salting multiple times. They did the Christmas tree recycling program, and I think it was 45 trees that were collected this time and chipped. So it's a little below the normal amount, but higher than last year when there was snow, so they were only able to go the following day. So, it could be people are switching to artificial trees or don't care. I don't know. Clean up the trucks from the salting, the mirrors on McCoy, we got some salt deliveries. An update on that is that, I don't know if you've seen on the news, a lot of communities around here were in the Shaycog contract, which we are. The new salt delivery company was running behind on a lot of stuff, but we got 5 truckloads this morning, so we are back to functional levels. And they say that more barges are making their way up this way, so hopefully it's starting to ease. Some gouges on Swickley Ridge Drive from a trash truck, and had to fix some repairs on the 2012 dump truck.
Gwen, what was the outcome on with waste management and those gouges?
So they sent, we asked them to come out, the trash truck has gotten stuck on Swickley Ridge Drive and keeps getting stuck and gouging the road when it comes out. And they came out and said they were going to instruct their drivers on proper turning radius because they're getting stuck, they need to swing wider or something. Tim said a little cold patch now, and then in the spring it will be part of, the general patching that they can go around and do with general repairs. He said it was not a crisis that cars are getting stuck in or anything like that right now. So.
Wonderful. I would entertain a motion to approve the pay request, the first one from Access Limited Construction.
So moved. So moved. Second.
It's in the amount of $400,850 for soil nail and Shot Creek stabilization on the Rhodes Avenue emergency landslide. A little bit of discussion. This is the one that they reduced the invoice by $10,000, I believe, because of damage that was done to the road because of heavy equipment. So it's actually $10,000 less than what we expected, second to that. Any additional discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Communications, Gwen.
So, we've gotten, a property complaint that I believe Anna has suggested that we have a brief executive session at the end of the meeting to, discuss the board's options. And then we have been on the receiving end of a couple of emails that are generally going and directed to the volunteer fire company about the siren. There's been some concerns about the increased siren because the county systems have changed. But the fire company's meeting to address that. It's their siren. They're having internal meetings and to address those questions.
Anything further? Communications? Planning and zoning.
No report.
Clayton, our tax collector and treasurer.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
You should have in your packets the year-end December 2025 financial information. As you can see, we ended up collecting $29,074.17 for the month of December. Overall, on pages 3 and 4 of your report, you can kind of see how we kind of ended up to our year-to-date budget and compared very similar to last year's 2024 numbers. We ended up being about $11,000 over. So the budget has been kind of addressed for that for 2026, since you all voted on that previous month with all of that. So that's where we kind of stand with that. As far as our account ending balances, the PNC checking account, which is our operating fund, has $249,823.05. And then our investment accounts, the liquid fuels, which is basically your salt contract, has $81,475.70. Our general investment fund has $1,471,976.05. Our reserve fund has $132,318.31, and then our capital improvement has $1,166,723.08. Add that all up, subtract out the pledged funds, bless you, targeted funds. Our total net operating funds has $1,721,799.10. And then we have the two sewer bond account and the stormwater account. Sewer bond has $718,615.26, and the stormwater account has $402,794.24.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones, as our finance guru, you have any questions, comments, concerns? Thanks.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Clayton.
Yep.
Finance. We need a motion for the December bill list.
I move to approve the December bill list in the amount of $42,134.08. To ratify December prepaid bills in the amount of $11,770.55. And to ratify December payroll transfers in the amount of $38,275.48.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Liquid fuels.
I move to transfer $3,877.25 from the liquid fuels fund to the general fund for the payment of road salt invoices.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Again, the liquid fuels.
Then
This is finance. It's all you.
Dancing.
I move to transfer $13,877.72 from the liquid fuels fund to the general fund for the payment of road salt invoices.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any report from the authority?
No report.
Quaker Valley Ambulance Authority, no report. COG, Mr. Ort.
Really no report. They have appointed an interim manager, which I'll meet day after tomorrow, and go forth from there.
Going forth. Solicitor Jewett.
My only items are either gonna be handled in executive session, or I do have some points on items under unfinished business. So I think we could probably go right into that unless there are other non-agenda items you'd like me to
That's fine.
discuss.
I believe your first is the Aleppo Township policy.
Correct. So I did review the short policy on procedures for seeking endorsements by the board specifically for legislation. I don't have any changes to the language that was put together. You are certainly free to adopt it. I will make, a very brief guiding statement, which I think is appropriately reflected in the language. It is entirely discretionary on the board. At no instance will the board be required to act on specific requests, whether they come from a resident, from anybody else. So it is certainly, something that is frequently done by governing bodies like this, but it is not any sort of obligation on you to take a particular stance, whether that is declining to make an endorsement, agreeing to give an endorsement, or agreeing to even consider it. So that is something just to keep in mind as you go forward, and I'll of course be available to help navigate that as you make those decisions in the future. But as drafted, the language that you have correctly reflects that it is very much something you may do, not something that you are obligated to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Given that we've had this discussion in prior meetings, we can certainly entertain discussion here and adopt this at this meeting as a policy. I would entertain that motion.
Do we have the language? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's in
You
your
do, it's in
packet.
your-
Oh, I missed the,
Would you like me to go over it since I had it in front of me?
Yeah, that would
Here,
be
it's
helpful.
right here.
oh,
It's right there.
got it. Sorry.
So as proposed, it
I'll go one more time.
provides again, it's a policy decision of the board, so none of this is going to be absolutely binding on you, but I think it does provide appropriate guidelines. It applies to residents or concerned citizens who are asking for an endorsement or support for proposed and pending litigation or issues of public concern. It directs that residents or citizens should submit written materials in advance, that they should come to a meeting to present on that request, and that their petition should be based upon the written materials that they had submitted, that the commissioners will consider the request may require some level of community support before taking a vote, that if there is going to be some request for community support, it be submitted or presented at a subsequent meeting or after the first presentation, and that you then may vote on the issue and may decide to act or decline to act on the request to support the legislation. So it's relatively straightforward in my opinion, sort of follows the procedures that I think are common sense, but I am appreciative of the fact that it requires some level of documentation. As I'm sure you all have seen, these types of requests come up frequently. And I think this allows for an active level of citizen participation while appropriately aligning your First Amendment concerns, particularly as an active expression by the township.
Is there a way to, for your guidance, that active, it's the active citizen participation, but making sure that that residents that are in support, that they're residents or taxpayers of Aleppo versus presenting information, like auditing it basically, potentially. Do
Yeah.
you have a good advice on making sure that somebody's not that passionate and they're bringing, that they have friends that are, but it's not reflective of our population? Making sure that they are residents or taxpayers of Aleppo Township.
Yeah, so
Do we care?
as currently drafted, I think that in general, your elected officials of Aleppo, the way that our meetings are structured, is tailored to make sure that you're responding to your residents' needs, residents and taxpayers, as opposed to general citizens of Allegheny County or Pennsylvania or the US as a whole. As you have it drafted, it identifies a resident or concerned citizen. I suppose concerned citizen could be a little bit more broad than maybe you would like it to be. In general, you are only obligated to hear even public comment from residents or taxpayers.
Yep.
You certainly may hear from other folks if you would choose to, but you are permitted to limit participation to those persons. So there is not a issue with continuing to limit it to a presentation by your residents and taxpayers.
All right. Suffice with that answer.
How often have these issues come up in the past?
Oh,
I haven't seen any.
A lot of times they're environmental, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of times that we've had one and the board endorsed something a couple of years ago about.
We had the
something
thing
paving
about
product or
paving, a
something.
paving product, the
Yeah.
Aleppo paving
Oh, yeah,
thing.
right.
We had a cell tower thing,
Yeah, I mean,
we had a
was it
fracking
the
thing.
tar?
Yeah, the tar
that
act,
went
yes.
everywhere. Yes.
Okay, just wondered. No issue.
Okay,
I do think, I will say, I think it's appropriate to have a policy in place if it's something that you want to have a more standardized procedure for. Again, it's flexible, it's just a policy. If, day-to-day governance requires you to, do something different in a given situation, you can certainly do that.
Would this be also kept with Gwen and the manager that for the public, if they wanted to have it, they would have access to it relatively quickly?
the policy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
Post it
Yeah,
on the
if anybody
website.
wants to come in or
Absolutely.
something, you
Yeah.
put it on the website, and I can also say,
Yeah.
somebody comes to me normally and say, I wanna talk to the board about this, I can go, great, here's
Yep,
what you need
here
to
it
do.
is. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we adopted it, I just want to make sure it's easily accessible.
That's a very good point.
do we need to adopt it by motion? It's a
Yes.
policy?
Yeah,
Okay.
as a policy, you should adopt it by
I
motion.
move to adopt the Aleppo Township policy for seeking township endorsement as reviewed by Solicitor Jewett.
So be it.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries as stated. There was a request from a resident in Swickley Ridge that we've talked a couple times about. One was the desire to have a stop sign placed at that corner. We had spoke to Adam, I believe Adam Beck, that was here at our last meeting. I did some looking into it and found out that in fact, much of what he said was true, in that you cannot use a stop sign as a traffic guidance system or as a way to slow down cars. We could certainly look into that a little farther. I believe our solicitor has looked into it as well, and she's gonna talk about it in just a second. That part of it is problematic, but the other side of it was that we were also requested to take down a tree, which is a pine tree at that corner that it was felt as obstructive to traffic. The tree itself is not on township property, but Gwen had Tim go out and look at it, and he decided that it would not be really a big deal to remove bottom branches, thus raising it and making it easier to see around the tree. And that would kind of be an easy solution, an easy, at least part of a solution, if everybody agrees that it would really be no expense to the township. It's relatively easy to do.
Whose property is it on if it's not on township property?
Manor.
So the manor, do we need to get their approval before we modify the tree?
You do not, so long as you're only
it's a
cutting
safety.
branches
Okay.
within your right-of-way. If
Okay.
you were to make a determination that the tree as a whole, which is on private property, you probably would need their permission. To trim it, you have pretty much utmost discretion to maintain any sort of encumbrance into your right-of-way.
Okay.
So trimming it, I'd say, that's a go ahead and do it situation if it seems appropriate to the board. If you do think that removal ultimately would be required, my recommendation would be to ask that the private property owner, in this case the HOA, take care of that. They do have an obligation not to interfere with our rights of way.
Okay. And I have nothing further.
I wonder if notifying the manor board wouldn't be appropriate.
We certainly could do that as kind of a little
Yeah.
handshake kind of thing. Sure.
I
I don't
certainly
believe that they would
email RJ
object, but,
management and let them know that this,
yeah, that
we
we're
were
gonna,
approached by this and that this is our proposed solution.
Yep.
Yeah, I can.
yeah, there's no
tell
problem
them.
doing that.
And Dave
Manage-
Borkovich is the head of the landscape committee to the Ridge, which I think would be his venue.
Do I call him too? I don't know him. Do I
Probably only
just go
have
to
to call
RJ
him.
management and just
Either,
tell them?
either way,
Okay,
either
we'll
way.
just,
I believe we're directed to communicate with the board through RJ Management.
yeah, I'll do that.
Good.
And they're pretty strong about that.
Any other questions on the tree portion? If not, I can address some of the signage questions.
Solicitor,
Okay. So amendments to the motor vehicle code several years ago do make it easier for you on a township, dual township road, so an intersection that has both township properties, to place a stop sign as, without a traffic study, so long as it is used for stopping, yielding, et cetera, at that intersection. We're entirely correct that you should not be utilizing stop signs as, under the guidance, under the vehicle code, for traffic calming. But you do have the ability by ordinance, if you feel that it is necessary, to add a stop sign at an intersection so long as it is township to township roads.
is that township the township code?
Yes. However, there are guidelines, even though you don't have strict obligations to have a full traffic study. There are guidelines for the use of traffic control devices like stop signs, yield signs, etc., that we do still recommend get reviewed by an engineer to make sure that you are not, for example, putting two stop signs too close together so that it actually has a more damaging effect than if you just left it as it is. So there are guidelines and provisions of the code which should be consulted, should be reviewed before you take those steps, even if a full-blown traffic study is not strictly required for that situation. I did take a look at just the general mapping, and it does appear that you would have kind of some very close intersections if there was a stop sign added here. So based on the facts as I know it, do I think you could go in with without a full-fledged traffic study? Yes, I do. Do I think that it necessarily would be compliant with the provisions of or the recommendations of the motor vehicle code? Not necessarily. So it would be my recommendation, if you did choose to go forward, that you at least review it with a traffic engineer, and I'm sure our consulting engineers could provide one. That being said, any changes you did make would be required to be done by ordinance. So it's something that would take some additional advertising, review, et cetera.
I think before we take on something as large as an ordinance, to enact a stop sign, that we need some way to define that the problem is in fact a problem affecting a large number of people. I think it would be reasonable to go back to the person who brought this to our attention and ask her to provide some type of documentation, whether it be signatures, whether it be something that demonstrates that this in fact is a need of the community versus a suggestion of an individual, because it sounds like a large undertaking. If
Yes.
we would have to hire engineers, we would have to go through the whole ordinance process and advertise and vote, et cetera. And I guess I'm reluctant to use township resources if it hasn't been demonstrated that it's an issue for a number of our residents versus one or two.
And if you are taking action on the tree and sightline issues, that might resolve some of the concerns.
Good point.
And I was just gonna ask, so I don't know if this resident, what exactly the dynamic is between the single-family homes and the townhouses of the manor?
The same board, same HOA.
So they are, so the single-family homes are within the
Yes,
the HOA?
within the HOA of the
So
manor.
does it maybe make sense, I don't know what the relationship is there, what is the management company,
RJ Management.
RJ Management, to ask them, to say, hey, this has been brought to it, or one, are you aware? Two, do you have a recommendation, right? Even within your organization, to like, is it affecting everybody? I mean, they're the ones that are probably in touch
RJ
more.
Management doesn't really,
I just didn't
no,
know.
they don't, they're more of a maintenance kind of, they're not an oversight.
Or maybe-
The HOA has oversight by a board, and the board hires RJ Management to manage the everyday kind of maintenance functions of the board.
I guess I was saying, you mentioned that we communicate to the board through RJ Management?
Just because their email system goes out to multiple people and they send it to the right board member.
Got it, so maybe that's what I was thinking, like, maybe through them, get to the board. Is it something within that micro community that you found to be an issue and would like to comment on it, or?
I guess
you know,
I'm not sure that it's our responsibility to seek the definition of the problem. I think it may be the responsibility of the person bringing the problem to document that it is in fact a problem. I guess I don't want to put on us future situations where someone has a complaint and it's us that then has to go to the authorities
Right.
that surround that complaint. For example,
Don't do it.
somebody from Masonic
Yeah.
says, I think we need a stop sign in front of Masonic, and it becomes our responsibility to contact the board of Masonic and talk to the people in the apartments and the people in the
Yep.
SNF and the people in the, I think it should be the burden of the person bringing the problem to, in fact, justify that it's a
Yeah,
problem.
that goes to the
I have a question.
I don't disagree,
Board.
that's a reasonable point in the way that could affect, precedent in the future. It's not, I understand.
And in the request, the person submitting asked that I recuse and Judy recuse. What's the grounds?
I do not think that there's anything that would require your recusal on that. So the statement was essentially that because you live in those communities, that you should not vote on issues surrounding them. I don't think that's the case. So in order to require your recusal, you'd have to have some sort of actual conflict of interest. And that would involve, for example, a familial interest with the thing before you, financial interest with the thing before you, or some appearance of bias. I do not see that here in this situation.
Well, I do live above where the stop sign would be. So I would have to stop if there was a new stop sign. Is that sufficient?
No, that is not sufficient to require your recusal.
It would actually,
I wanted to recognize her request.
would it make it difficult, sorry to interrupt, would it make it difficult for us to act? If you have two recruits, I mean, we'd have a quorum in the meeting, but we don't have a fifth member. Can you pass anything with less than 50% of votes, even though you have a quorum? Was that possible?
There's this joyful thing called the rule of necessity, which would allow you to potentially take action if you had to, and you only had 2 voting members left, even if that is less than a quorum. Typically, that does not apply to 5-member boards, just to 3-member boards, but it has been utilized to give you grounds. So yes, it would give you a lot of difficulties, and also, frankly, the Ethics Act is not blind to the fact that you are citizen, resident, governing officials. You are going to vote on things that have an impact on your day-to-day life, and that's why it has very specific requirements for when recusal is required. And this is not
So
one
therefore,
that I
I
would see.
comment that I think starting with the tree is a good place to start. Because the site problem is more the tree on the right side. It may satisfy her request.
So I should start with a notice, just an email to RJ Management saying, hey, we've got.
But it's our
we're
intent
gonna
to trim the tree.
Trim a tree, and then have him trim the tree, and then I could reach back out to this person and say, this is the first action that's been taken, hopefully this will clear things up, let us know.
And if
Future.
it does not, if you desire us to take further action, then we need documentation
We need-
of the magnitude of the problem.
Good.
I agree with that, that's a good course of action.
Okay. New business. We have with us Francis don't let me mess this up, Amatucci. Is that right?
What did you say in the middle there?
Bring it out for me, Francis.
Marie? Judy and Gwen both gave me a little warning that I would have to say something about myself, and I guess I should have prepared better. I told Judy I'm a professor, I know how to talk, but where do I begin? Why am I here? I'm sure you want to know that. Just to give you a little bit of background, I'm 40 plus years career in academia. Before that I was in healthcare. I have an MBA and a PhD from Katz. I teach strategic planning and policy, the business capstone course, both at the MBA and the undergraduate level. I've been doing that for a long time. And I'm on the verge of retirement, okay, and I'm thinking about how do I want to spend my time, how can I leverage my skills, my experience in the future after my academic life. So I will be volunteering, I will be involved in community work. I just don't know what just yet. So I'm very curious. I heard there was an opening here. I think your discussions are fascinating. I have been involved in entrepreneurship, small business management, nonprofit, mainly for-profit, and never government. So this is something that's very new to me, and so I'm here to learn. And if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
I would just, if I may,
Absolutely.
Francis is here because we have an opening on the Board of Commissioners, so.
That would have been a good idea to say
Can
that.
we say that, that's why? Maybe we could have introduced you a little, but that's why that she has contacted us and expressed an interest in that seat, and that it would, if the board chooses to make an appointment for that open seat, it would be a 2-year term, and anybody appointed to that seat would have to run in the next election. It's normally a 4-year term, but because of an appointment, you always have to run in the next election, so that's the technical side.
Thank you, Gwen.
I guess my question is, are you interested?
I am, yeah. Yeah, I think the discussions are fascinating, and I have a lot to learn, and I hope that I would have a lot to contribute to a very different perspective. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Just a note of,
Please.
of awareness that I came onto the board for the 2-year term. I'm rapidly approaching 12. Just let you
Kind
know.
of reeled you in,
Yeah,
right?
just let you know.
That's okay, thank you for the forewarning. Thank you, everybody.
Francis, thank you. Is there any additional new business? Manager Patterson. Thank you for the blanket, by the way. Do we have any citizen participation outside of the ones we've already reviewed? Okay, if there's nothing further, we will need to adjourn for executive session, and I would ask those that are not present for executive session to please exit. Dave, can we come off of live, please?
And the purpose of the executive session?
Whoops, thank you, George.
Purpose will be to receive legal advice from your solicitor about potential code enforcement items, which are always potential litigation.
Thank you.
Yeah, sit up straight.
So we came back into the regular session at 7:55.
God, I hope so. Yes.
You're it.
Oh, I'm it,
You're it.
again. Oh, well. This session's adjourned.
Legally, that's sufficient, but if you want a second, you can get one.